Welcome into No Pun Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. This is our Look Inside series, and we are heading for the second time. This is the first time to Los Angeles. There's two teams there. I forget if we've done the Rams already. These teams were pretty dead even when it came to record and how their seasons ended up playing out, both playoff teams. But this one, we're staying in the AFC, the team that can't sell out the stadium, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. Best social team in the game. Not great at selling tickets. There's a lot to love about this team. There's some new additions for Justin Herbert to take advantage of and for John Harbaugh and Greg Roman to deal with on the offensive side. Defense looks promising. But it is the Chargers, and they always Chargers, so we'll see how they do. Let's get into it. Look inside Los Angeles Chargers. First time we're going to Los Angeles. All these shows meshed together. I just know these teams ended up roughly in the same spot, and I forgot who finished further down the line. So it happened to be the Rams.
10-7. Chargers were 11-6.
See, that's why it confused me, because I know the Rams had a worse record, but they made it further.
Yeah, the Rams won the division.
Yes, and they made it further in playoffs. So that's why, again, we go by draft order. In that order. So that is why the Chargers are ahead, because they got knocked out sooner. All right. What do we think of this team? Just in general. John Harbaugh's back. Greg Roman's back. I haven't even gone through the lineup yet. General blanket statement. How do we feel on the Chargers? Because I don't know.
I mean, I always like the Chargers. It's hard for me not to. Big Justin Herbert guy. Harbaugh's offense wasn't as, or I guess Greg Roman's offense wasn't as bad for passing as we thought it was going to be. Overall, I'm always a fan of this team. I'm not going to back off of them.
They're in an adjustment period. I mean, it's the second year in Greg Roman's system. Harbaugh wants to run a certain kind of defensive scheme. It's usually by year 2 is when we start to see the influences of a new coaching staff. And I mean, considering they went 11-6 last year, I think that truly does. It speaks to Harbaugh as a coach and how they constructed this team.
You guys really, really hard selling me on this offense right now. I was really
well, honestly, like the whole offense is competitions, and we'll get to that with the training camp battles. Like it's literally they brought in a veteran and then immediately drafted a young guy to compete with them.
Yeah, that one I'll give you the competition with. Everywhere else I could care less about. We will get into that though, and again, this is the ADP using Underdog. It's getting pretty normal now. We're in the middle of July. This is as of July 14th. So the ADPs aren't going to, I would say they're not going to adjust pretty crazily from here on out. You may see some weird adjustments come like the end of August because of training camp battles being more solidified and things like that. But for the time being, if you are drafting before, I would say the last preseason game, which please don't. But if you are, these ADPs are, I would say, pretty set in stone, because most training camp battles normally aren't decided until after the third preseason game.
The Underdog ones, yes, I agree with. Where it's going to get interesting is on your home site, which is probably ESPN or Sleeper for the vast majority of people out there right now. Around the middle of August is when local drafts and a lot more drafts are going to start to happen. So you're going to see big swings on, I'll use Sleeper because no one's mock drafting on ESPN right now. You're going to see big swings on the Sleeper ADP still for the next 60 or 30 days. But I agree with you, Underdog. This is where it's going to be with Underdog from this point forward.
Yep, and we use Underdog. You use promo code WOFF. First time deposit match and free pick up to $1,000. Could be a fun team to throw in your lineups here. Some pretty good players. We'll get into those right now. Justin Herbert. I mean, I'm not the biggest Herbert guy, but it is disrespectful at QB 17.
You didn't do the previous show with us, but we noted that JJ McCarthy was going ahead of Herbert and that people have lost their minds. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think Herbert has like the it factor or the win gene, but at QB 17, that's a little disrespectful to a guy. Wasn't he QB 10 last year? Like he was a top 10 quarterback. Yeah. So a little disrespectful. the disrespect gets even worse at running back. Najee Harris is the RB1 on paper. Yeah, and this is the big training camp battle. Najee Harris is the RB1. Omarion Hampton's the RB2. That is reversed in ADP. Omarion Hampton is going RB14 and Najee Harris going RB37. That's disrespectful. Najee Harris in traditional leagues is not even a starter, according to the people drafting right now, which is asinine. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 1, Lad McConkey. Wide receiver 11, not high enough. Make him the wide receiver 1. Let the man cook. Quentin Johnston is the supposed wide receiver 2 at wide receiver 63. Trey Harris, the rookie, at wide receiver 54. I don't know why I have Mike Williams on here. He was just announced to the PUP list. Shocking.
Teams will
He's the
put
wide receiver
players on
4.
PUP lists in training camp, even if they don't actually start the regular season on them.
Yeah, it's a certain date they have to get them off.
Yeah.
Mike Williams
That's
is
all
on the
that
PUP list to start the season. So
Joe just has to prove a point. That's all.
what do you want from me? Mike Williams has been good 1 year and it was his contract year. Okay.
All years for Mike Williams now.
I mean, these are put him out to pasture and
Oh, I know.
let him run free in the farm before you go back and shoot him. Like that's what this is for Mike Williams.
That's fair.
Point in time, wide receiver 107. Great for the social team. I know they're happy to have him back. So he'll be doing plenty of social content on the PUP list for the first 8 weeks of the season. Will Dissly is the tight end 1, maybe. He's tight end 42. Tyler Conklin might be the tight end 2, could be the tight end 1, tight end 34. Or Aronde Gadsden the second could be the tight end 1, but is the tight end 3 right now and is tight end 41. So if you didn't get enough tight ends on this roster, you're not drafting any of them. So you don't need to worry about them, but they're probably going to pop up once or twice on a Stream of the Week article.
Oh, Aronde Gadsden's a Syracuse guy. He will definitely be on a Stream of the Week article.
Unless he's the tight end 3, then he won't be on a Stream of the Week article. But
you know me, I live dangerously. I'll he'll be my guaranteed touchdown scorer and get 0 points 1 week.
Yeah, obviously. Not even 0 points, 0 targets is what we're looking for. Okay, we will start here with the quarterback because it feels
Thoughts and
wrong.
expectations, man. What are we doing? We're skipping shit.
You guys already did that.
Oh, see, I did that short
really,
because I thought we were coming back to it.
Same.
Oh, I thought you guys already did that. Fine.
I mean, I actually don't have a whole lot to add because
there's not much more. You guys already did it. I kicked off the show with that.
Yeah. The quarterback's going to get into it anyway. Let's do it, Joe.
Let's go right into with thoughts and expectations. We've talked about this team hundreds of fucking times. What are the thoughts and expectations? We always go into it when we talk about the players. So the thoughts and expectations is this team's going to be good. Hopefully.
This is not the time to change the show sheet live on air. Let's get to the quarterback with Josh.
Yeah. It's go to the quarterback. The quarterback is the fucking offense. Talk about him.
I mean, really, in a nutshell, yeah. I thought it was really interesting because you look at Greg Roman's system. I mean, let's face it, it is what it is. It's run, pass, repeat, right? They're going to run the football. They're not going to throw a ton. The only time he's ever had a top 10 passing offense was the year Lamar Jackson got hurt. It's the only year he's been over 600 pass attempts. Last season with Justin Herbert, 510 pass attempts. That was the 27th in the NFL in pass attempts, and the second most pass attempts that Greg Roman's ever called as an offensive coordinator. That's really why he is QB 17, because the same shit was said last year. Oh, he's in a run-first offense. He's not going to throw enough. When you look at Greg Roman in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, yes, Lamar Jackson ran the football a ton, but why was he effective as a passer? Because they made his passing volume efficient. They're looking for downfield shots. They're looking to maximize what defenses give them. So they went out and they drafted a bunch of young guys that have young legs. They got Omarion Hampton at running back. They got Trey Harris at wide receiver. They got Aronde Gadsden at tight end. They brought in a couple of new faces, Tyler Conklin, Najee Harris. They brought back Mike Williams, who, obviously has a rapport with Justin Herbert when he's not on IR. So, they have the makings of we're going to build a young offense around Justin Herbert. But when you really look through Justin Herbert's stats, he had the most rushing yards he's ever had in a season last year. He had the most carries he's ever had in a season last year. The downside to that, his passing yards per game starting in 2022 at 278.8 have steadily gone down every single year. He was only at 227.6 last year. If you want to put that in terms of fantasy points, that's only a 9-point floor for fantasy points. So he needs touchdowns. Well, guess what he did last year? Threw 23 of them. Not great by QB standards, but when you pair that with only 3 interceptions, it's really fucking good. So what they're ultimately trying to do is they're trying to maximize the efficiency. They want him throwing less, completing more passes. He's a career 66% passing. Like, he will complete a ton of passes. He threw for over 3,800 yards last year on 510 attempts. That is a quality number of passing yards. So even if they get him up to, let's say, 520 pass attempts, he can potentially hit that 4,000 yard mark. You bring in new weapons. You get Najee Harris, who can catch the football. Marion Hampton, who can catch the football. Trey Harris was one of the better deep ball receivers in college football last year. And the one thing that I noticed, Justin Herbert tied for first in deep passing touchdowns, so passes over 20 yards. Second highest passer rating. Trey Harris had 399 yards on deep passes, 9 catches on 16 targets, and had the highest PFF grade on deep receptions. So, like, they brought in guys that are maximizing what this offense wants to do and how they want to surround Justin Herbert. So when you're talking about guys like Drake May and JJ McCarthy that are going ahead of Justin Herbert in draft, and I will even throw Justin Fields into that equation, because the way that Justin Fields is being drafted, he needs to run for 1,000 yards, plain and simple.
And he will.
No, he won't.
Let the man cook.
There's been like 2,000-yard seasons ever by a quarterback.
He's about to have a third. I don't know what it's like.
Joe guarantees it.
He's got one of them. He owns half of them. So, like, let him own 66% of them. Like, what?
But the point I'm getting at is that Herbert's ability as a passer can make up for any deficiencies he has as a runner. But when he's running for over 300 yards and up to, 3-5 touchdowns, that helps negate what he's losing to some of these other guys that aren't throwing for as much, but might be running for more.
But aren't we worried about DJ Uiagalelei as the undrafted free agent signing for the Los Angeles Chargers to come and take Justin Herbert's job? The former
If you're
Clemson
listening on
standout.
Apple or Spotify, you can't hear me rolling my eyes.
DJ Uiagalelei. I just had to bring it up because I see him on the depth chart, and I didn't know he still was employed, not at a as a car salesman. So.
Yeah, I'll quickly throw out to add to Josh. The thing that I like about everybody got very nervous about Justin Herbert last year. Rightfully so. And the pass attempts were as down as we said they were going to be. But the efficiency, most yards per attempt of his entire career, fewest interceptions of his entire career, highest passer rating of his entire career. And as Josh mentioned, most rushing attempts and rushing yards of his entire career. It's interesting. When Justin Herbert came into the league, it seemed like he was on a Patrick Mahomes strong arm trajectory, 4,300 yards and then 5,000 yards. Then it started to slip and there's been injuries. But it's interesting because as we've all pointed out, Andy Reid has also turned Patrick Mahomes into a game manager. So they're kind of just following the exact same path. But what Herbert seems to be locked in, and I understand it was one season, but to go out in a new offense and have your immediate best season despite the fewest passing attempts per game of your career, I'm not worried about Justin Herbert, the quarterback. I'm not worried about Justin Herbert, the passing quarterback or the fantasy quarterback. He is still my QB10 again heading into this season.
The offense only got better.
Exactly.
They got younger. The better portion is really still to be determined. It depends on how these young guys mature and how they grow in the game. Like, we saw Ladd McConkey shoot out of a cannon. There's no guarantee that Trey Harris, Hampton, and Gadsden are going to do the same thing, though.
Well, nobody's Ladd McConkey, all right?
Obviously.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I think they overall got better. I mean, they have 2 first-round wide receiver picks out of TCU on their team. Did you know Jalen Reagor is a Los Angeles Charger?
I did
Yes,
not realize
I
that he
knew
went to
that
the
Jalen
Chargers.
Reagor was a Los Angeles.
I didn't know that. So I think it's hilarious that
They're gonna form like Voltron.
the 2 TCU receivers that were drafted before Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who went to the same team, is absolutely hilarious. And that is an ongoing joke that is ever so sweet on this show. But yeah, the younger talent got better. Mekhi Becton was added. So for the 7 games he plays before he gets injured, that'll be really good for the team. And then Carson Barnhart will come in. Don't know who that is. But at least if Mekhi Becton can stay healthy, that very much helps the offensive line. There's 3 first-round picks spread out, both at tackles and at center. It's a good team. It's just
an improving defense. So
it is. I do like their defense. Going to the aforementioned first-round TCU wide receiver, and no, not Jalen Reagor, because he's currently 8th on the depth chart. The guy who is 2nd on the depth chart right now, Quentin Johnston. He cannot catch. That isn't even up for debate anymore. That is,
he
the man
had over
cannot.
a 60% catch rate last year.
He cannot catch.
If he can't catch, neither can DK Metcalf.
Yeah, but
they're about the same career catch percentage. I'm just saying.
What's the drop rate? DK doesn't have the drop rate is different from catch percentage.
And to Joe's point, and an offense that became wildly efficient,
he wasn't.
Quentin Johnston wasn't exactly, because when I look at lower catch rates, and 60% is not a terrible catch rate to Josh's point, but there were drops. When I look at lower catch rates, I also look at yards per catch, and we expect Quentin Johnston to be this like 17 yards per catch field stretcher. He was only 13 yards per catch in this offense last year. And I get that, I knew I was going to have to fight with Joe on this, and the great majority of people are not happy to go draft Quentin Johnston. And I don't want to make it out like I think he's just this great value, but what I do think, he is the perfect complement to Ladd McConkey on this team until we see what Trey Harris is at the NFL level, because right now they don't have a tight end that's worth noting. I love Oronde Gadsden. He's a terrible blocker. I don't quite know if that's how much that's going to endear him to this offense, because he needs to be able to get on the field, and that's probably going to come via blocking. And if he can't do that, he's not going to get a chance. He is a great receiver. He is essentially a receiver at tight end, but I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about like a 6th-round tight end that may not get on the field this season. So my options were limited. I don't know enough about Trey Harris. I liked everything I saw about him during the draft process, but rookies do take time, and we can't just sit around and ignore what Quentin Johnston did last season. 91 targets in 15 games. He missed 2 games. He would have been a 100-target wide receiver last year if he had played every games. Missing those 2 games, 8 touchdowns, actually led the team in receiving touchdowns, 711 yards. Again, he wasn't quite the field stretcher that we expected him to be. Josh Palmer kind of continued to play that role last year at 15 yards per catch. And to me, that also screams that there's a place for all 3 of these wide receivers in this offense, especially an offense that doesn't have an established tight end. Ladd McConkey's role is safe, 112 targets in 16 games. Nothing is changing about Ladd McConkey's role. Josh Palmer is gone. So if Trey Harris comes in and takes over the Josh Palmer role, he's going to be the deep threat. That leaves Quentin Johnston in the exact role he played last year. If he comes in and takes over that kind of medium route role that Quentin Johnston plays, then Quentin Johnston hopefully gets a chance to show off his speed. Again, there's catch rate issues, but Josh Palmer only caught 60% of the balls thrown his way last year, but he did it with the 15 yards per catch. Quentin Johnston is a best ball wide receiver. He's not someone, I don't know that I'm even going to draft him on a redraft team, but in leagues like Underdog and leagues like our Gods and Goddesses League, where it is a best ball format, Quentin Johnston fits the bill. He's a larger wide receiver who can stretch the field, who scores touchdowns, and he's in an offense that's fun and efficient. I don't get all of the hate sent his way. Joe, I get it from you. You've been railing on TCU wide receivers forever, but you're not the only one, and most people don't hate him just because he went to TCU.
So let's
He had
take
5
out.
drops last year, by the way, Joe. 5.
Oh, it felt
DK
like
averages
more.
6 per season, so just throwing
It
that out.
felt like well.
So
Julian Edelman averaged 13. And Julian
heard it here.
Edelman
Not that I'm trying to
had
shit on DK, I'm just trying to prove a point.
no, you're proving the point that Quentin
Julian
Johnston is
Edelman
the
had
next.
13 drops a year.
That's my
Now-
point.
Yeah, but Julian Edelman was a good receiver. There's a difference. Julian Edelman can't catch with his hands. I admit that. Neither can Wes Welker. We saw that in the Super Bowl. They're good receivers. This guy sucks. Take out the 1 week that doesn't matter in fantasy, the final week of the season, week 17. He had 14 targets and 13 catches for 186 yards in the final week of the season when nothing mattered. Nothing. Also didn't find the end zone, by the way, on those 14 targets. But anyways,
Which means he scored his 8 in games that did matter.
Yeah, well, and that's fine. But you take that out, he is not a 91 target player. He's a 77 target player. He's not a 55 catch guy. He's a 42 catch guy. He's not a 711 yard receiver. He's a 530 yard receiver. He's not that good. He got inflated in week 17. He had one game all year that was over 60 yards receiving. One. It was 118.
Yeah.
He also had more fantasy points last year than Demario Douglas, Rome Odunze, Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin.
You're not listing good receivers. You're not listing good. Demario Douglas.
Diggs, well, he only played so many games.
I mean,
Demario Douglas was your first guy you listed. That's not a good receiver.
But what's interesting to me is the fact that
but everybody's hyping him up this year with Josh McDaniels coming back.
Well,
he's going off the
That's
board.
more the point that I'm getting at.
Well, for QJ, it's just he's going off the board in the 60s when he was the wide receiver 39 last year. And obviously, Joe, you're not wrong about week 18 inflating the yardage and receptions. But it also means he scored more touchdowns in fewer games than we gave him credit for as well.
And scored more touchdowns than your great Lad McConkey, by the way.
Okay, where did Ladd finish, by the way?
Because he had 100 and how many targets?
And he had a lot of yards too when it mattered. So that's all. I don't. You could score 16 touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount scored 17 touchdowns, and he was still like RB 14 that year. You want to know why? Because he couldn't fucking run. That's like it doesn't matter. Touchdowns don't matter unless if you can't fucking find. Like,
look, at the end of the day, they're playing two completely different receiver positions. Like Lad McConkey, he's setting up the offense. Quentin Johnston just has to capitalize on. This is a low passing volume offense. There's only going to be one legitimate wide receiver that you draft. That's Lad McConkey. Everybody else, from the tight ends all the way down, or for Johnston, the tight ends, they're all ancillary pieces. You're hoping that you get another 90 targets for Quentin Johnston this year. That's ultimately the goal. But if he gets 14 yards per reception, he utilizes that yards after catch ability, there is room that he vastly outperforms his ADP. It's the same argument that I made for Marvin Mims during the Broncos show.
Yeah.
You're never confidently starting this man ever.
That's why I said best ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like for the 99% of people.
Well, let's be honest, Joe. Of every player on this team, the only one you're confidently starting is Lad McConkey.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's be honest, because even Justin Herbert, you're not confident in starting, but you know that he's going to finish as a top 10.
I'd be confident starting Justin Herbert. I disagree on that one. I would be confident in starting Justin Herbert every week, knowing I'm getting not the highest end QB1 performance, so I'm getting a quarterback 1 performance every week.
But you're not, though.
He's Phillip Rivers. He's Phillip Rivers.
Not in this offense. That's the point I'm getting at.
No, I feel very confident that man gives me a QB1 performance every week.
I disagree. We didn't talk a lot about the running backs because the article on the website from Matt Record is going to get into the running back situation. But Justin Herbert and both running backs, I'm not against starting any of those guys. And then obviously Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnston, and we're going to do, or I guess when this show airs, we'll have already done the final round ADP shows. Quentin Johnston's going, I think, when we just looked at it in like the 14th round. And that's as your last pick in a regular. I mean, Joe's not wrong. In your home league, you're never going to be like, I need to start Quentin Johnston today.
Yeah.
And then what happens if Lad McConkey
plays the Raiders
broken
twice
in half?
Yeah.
Well, we don't say those things on this show, okay?
You say this shit all the time. I don't want to hear it.
If it's Aaron Rodgers, we say that shit. All right, it's not Lad McConkey.
I'm just saying, at the end of the day, Lad McConkey's not a big guy.
No,
like he could very easily get the same way that Zay Flowers can get destroyed. Lad McConkey can get destroyed.
Okay, let's not compare a fucking paper mache to like steel. Okay, like that's the comparison in that standpoint. All right. Lad McConkey next to Zay Flowers looks like a sumo wrestler.
Steel.
Pull up their measurables because they're not. They're very similar.
Zay Flowers
I know is 5'9", 178 pounds. Yeah,
like
I remember that when I was
6 foot 190. They are not the same
185.
person. They are not the same person.
And Lad McConkey still couldn't stay healthy in college. So like,
how did he do last year? We have this
you're
debate
talking about one season.
He was a wide receiver one
season.
He was a wide receiver one. He was a wide receiver one. 2 shit seasons from Quentin Johnston. Thank you. So can we add the second one in now? He's so bad. He is not a good receiver. To be fair, all of them at the end of the draft suck. All right. If I'm taking a flyer on a guy, it ain't Quentin Johnston.
And let's call a spade a spade. Wide receiver 13 overall is not wide receiver 1, Joe.
In a 14 team, it is. Anyways,
always moving the yardstick, dude.
Yeah, that's called sports radio. You make your argument around what works. That's why I'm never wrong, and you guys stay stuck in your little lanes. Okay, you guys stay stuck in your little lanes. That's why I'm never wrong. Quentin Johnston's a bum. Everything proves it.
I was gonna say
he's a bum.
And that's the part of your argument. I just can't. He's good. He's not a bum.
He's a bum.
He's better than average.
This regime didn't draft him. They drafted Trey Harris. If Trey Harris gets a contract, Quentin Johnston will get faded out of this offense. Plain and simple.
Trey Harris needs to show up first.
That's what I said. If he figures it out, at least not Shamar Stewart trying to go back to Texas A&M, which he can't do. That is not allowed. But like
that's wild.
Yeah, that I don't understand. That makes zero sense.
So one quick thing I just want to end this Quentin Johnston thing on, and this is where I was hoping to find these stats in time. The lack of a tight end on this team has opened things up for Lad and for Quentin Johnston in the red zone. Because last year, 4 of his 8 touchdowns came inside the 20-yard line. 5 of Lad McConkey's actually came inside of the 20-yard line. They both had 7 catches. So Quentin Johnston is almost playing a big slot type role or just the primary outside receiver role in the red zone. And again, in this offense, I think that's valuable.
I don't disagree with that. When you're his size.
Yeah.
And there's no other red zone threat. Yeah, but yeah, you should be the red zone threat.
Yeah, that's how that works. Honestly, the worst thing that could happen to Quentin Johnston would be me being right about Oronde Gadsden and him popping.
Well, not even that. Just the way that they utilize the running backs because
and 2 good running backs.
Last year Dobbins and Gus Edwards weren't near as effective as they had probably hoped. That's why they brought in Najee Harris. That's why they drafted Amari and Hampton. Yeah. If those 2 guys become the red zone threats, McConkey's not going to score touchdowns, and quite honestly, neither is Quentin Johnston.
I do love that. I started this thing out thinking I was defending Quentin Johnston, and we basically while we don't agree with Joe that he's trash, we do agree that he's probably.
There's just again, you're talking about late round guys. There's always going to be variables. That's the case with everybody. It's the same thing like when I was talking about Marvin Mims. Like there's always variables because what happens if Evan Ingram becomes what we're not expecting him to be or what everybody wants him to be, right? Like. There's plenty of variables that change the course of how a player ultimately finishes the season.
I'm just going to quickly throw out, though, running backs were pretty damn good inside the 20 last year. 11 touchdowns from Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins combined. Another 2 from Hassan Haskins and then 2 from Justin Herbert. We probably expect those to happen. But 13 touchdowns from running backs inside the 20. Seems like everybody's
underwhelming in a Greg Roman offense.
Yeah, that feels low.
Yeah, that's Gus Edwards did that in 1 season in Baltimore.
Also, to add into, I know he's going to start the season on the PUP list, but Mike Williams being there also hurts. Everyone.
You know the world's turned upside down when Joe has now started defending Mike Williams in order to shit on Quentin Johnston.
Hold on. You did not let me finish my statement. He's not scoring a lot of touchdowns, but there's going to be some 50-50 balls that they're going to throw his way that he won't catch, but that takes up a down in distance.
Yeah, I do want to quickly throw out, they only scored 15 rushing touchdowns from running backs last year, and I just told you that 13 came inside the 20. They had no big playability last year at all, it appears.
Hampton has
look,
that. Hampton definitely has that.
Look at their running backs.
Exactly.
They're old and coming off injuries, so
yes. Yeah, that they weren't exactly the explosive type. So again, there's a bunch of training camp battles. The backfield, Najee against Omarion. It's pretty. We think it's gonna be split.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 50-50 split, and then I think it's going to be that weird veteran rookie split where Najee is going to be far more valuable in the first 6 to 8 weeks, and then Hampton's going to end the season as the more valuable back.
And that's precisely why I think Hampton is being vastly overdrafted.
Yeah,
I think unless Omarion Hampton comes in and like kind of is like Jonathan Taylor, where it's like, okay, he's just far clear and away the better guy.
But they did it to Jonathan Taylor still, his rookie year.
Yeah, they kept giving the ball to Marlon Mack.
They did, but towards the back end of the season, it was all JT, which, again, that's Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack. That shouldn't even been a competition to begin with. This one's more of a competition. Najee Harris is a legit, actual running back.
He's a former first-round draft pick, too. Like no matter how bad you are after you're drafted, that draft position still holds. Why do you guys think that Jalen Reagor still has a job?
Exactly.
He's a former
I was just about to say that. I'm like, why is Jalen Reagor still in the league? Like, that was
precisely.
Yeah, clearly nobody values draft capital more than the Chargers.
And I've said this before, but the whole thing with this Harris and Hampton and, where Hampton's being drafted and all this stuff, like where Hampton is going, he needs not only just 70% of the rushing share, but he needs like 90% of the passing work because this team doesn't throw to running backs.
Yep.
So if they're split down the middle, that's not going to be anything more than like 25 targets to Hampton. So unless he catches 100% of them, it's not going to inflate his stats near enough that he pays off at RB14 ADP.
No, RB14 ADP, you're saying Najee Harris isn't there. Plain and simple. Mm-hmm. It makes zero sense.
He's going around Breece Hall, Kieran Williams, James Cook, and Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I say there are warts on a lot of those guys, but specifically Kieran Williams being put in that conversation with any of those 5 guys is ridiculous. So
strictly off the touchdown upside, but yes. Yeah. I don't know about Chuba Hubbard that high. That feels a little much. I'm still taking him over Omarion Hampton. That's not a question. But yeah, the Najee, it doesn't make sense that he's going that low. Again, Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris. Trey Harris is in a contract holdout. Like, that's just, if he doesn't show up, then that's great for Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, it's just going to be more time that Johnston gets to catch passes from Herbert. So,
or drop.
Not to mention, like, is our Harbaugh and Roman going to be the kind that hold this against Harris? Like,
well, I think regardless of the contract holdout, it's just not being there and practicing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more worried
You're
about.
not getting your legs under you. I mean, look how many rookies that have held out that have struggled their rookie year. Like, it's turned into a lost season.
Yeah, vets that hold out and struggle.
Yeah. Exactly.
Forget the rookies. Yeah, that's my. I don't think you draft a guy in the second round. You want him. He's skilled. You're gonna put him in the lineup. Harbaugh may be like, okay, kid, like we're gonna,
I just thought we were past all this with the rookies, with the pay scale and everything. This is so
but what screwed everything up was when the Texans fully guaranteed Jaden Higgins' contract for a second round pick.
Yeah.
And granted, this fully guaranteed is only like $7.5 million. Like, it's not like we're talking 20 some odd $1 million. It's $7.5 million over 4 years. And that's what teams are sweating.
Oh, no.
It's like, are you kidding me? That is just petty on the team's part.
That man could only play 4 years of football and retire. Like that.
And if that's all he makes, does he really think that's a successful career when you consider how many millions other people are making?
Well, not to mention some of these better wide receivers, maybe not Higgins necessarily or Trey Harris, but they might have made that their 4 years of college now. So.
Yeah, right?
I just can't imagine, like, again, let's just go back because this is a big rookie thing. Shamar Stewart looking at the Bengals and being like,
Wild.
yeah, 15 million's not enough. What?
Wild.
The fuck you mean 15 million's not enough? What do you mean?
Especially the Bengals who
I
don't
think it was the
negotiate.
total value of the contract. I think it was just some weird language that other first round picks are getting, but the Bengals are trying to like sneak it in under the radar, and Stewart and his agents are like, we're not going to be your test dummy.
Wow.
That's what I've heard the contract holdouts about.
I say it can't even be the money part of it because the
money is set. The money's set. Yeah. Because all the first round picks get fully guaranteed deals.
Yeah, fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
Just shut up, take the money. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I guess it comes down to what the weird language is. I guess I'm not signing over my firstborn to go play in fucking Cincinnati. But
I mean, I don't disagree with that. But like, I can't imagine, one, it's that bad, and two, you're gonna sit out a full year and make no money when you could have made $4 million. It doesn't make sense to me. And then the tight end position, I guarantee you all three of these guys get a chance at some point. Disley and Conklin are both very good blocking tight ends, so and vets. They're going to get the first crack.
Yeah, this feels like when the Ravens drafted Hayden Hurst in the first round as an all-around tight end, and then literally that same draft
Mark
Andrews predominantly as a pass catcher.
Yep.
Conklin can do a little bit of both. Gadsden's the pass catcher. How quickly can Gadsden come on board? Like, I mean, Disley kind of fits the same mold that Conklin fits, but Gadsden is that ace in the hole for the passing game if he develops.
You could run him out of, I don't know how good he is. I don't know much, but like run him out of the slot.
Joe, to answer your question about the Shamar Stewart, it's quote a default clause. Basically, the Bengals, it would allow the Bengals the right to void future guaranteed money if Stewart were to get into trouble, potentially impacting his contract due to conduct on or off the field.
Okay.
Punch his girlfriend in the face.
So what you're telling me is Shamar Stewart is worried that that
he can't behave himself for the next 4 years.
Exactly.
I mean, I get that aspect of it, but I think you also have to understand too, and I know this is dovetailing way out of like the realm of what we're discussing, but like when young athletes earn a shit ton of money, they become targets. And sometimes when they become targets, it's less about, their everyday, behavior and more about what button is somebody going to push that puts them over the edge. Because all this stuff, like with the Quinshon Judkins scenario, like people have literally come out and been like, when I met this kid at the combine, he was the nicest kid I've ever met in my life. So like hearing these reports come out, you're just like, what Jekyll and Hyde scenario is going on here, right? Like, and again, I'm not defending any future infractions from Stewart and certainly not defending Judkins, but buttons get pushed all the time. And sometimes you don't know what you are capable of until that presents itself. And that's what Stewart is doing. He's standing up for the 31 other first round picks weren't given this clause. Why am I your test subject?
Yeah, I see. I see that Matt Araiza had his whole thing when he was the punter, got drafted, accused. It didn't happen. It was a hoax. They wanted money. I agree with that. I think it's like 60% of the time, 70% of the time, the stuff that accused, especially for athletes for money, is not correct. But in the same token, if you are employed by somebody and you break the law, they have every right to not employ you anymore.
Yeah. That's why the NFL has a players union.
Yes, that's how I see that. That is all. Best bets: Justin Herbert to have 4,000 passing yards. Ooh, getting spicy. Plus 200 on
the one of the few that actually had plus money. And honestly, I don't know. I probably wouldn't bet this, but it's not like Justin Herbert's never done this. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But like if he clears this, it's probably going to be like 40-28 or something like that. Like he's going to have arguably the most efficient season he has ever had to clear this mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he does, he's gonna eke right over that line. Yeah. He's not gonna blow by. You're gonna be sweating your money until week 17.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew that he was throwing 570 times, he hits this easy.
Oh yeah,
but that's not gonna be the case in Greg Roman's offense.
540, he could do it. Like, You just, yeah, we'll see. Amarion Hampton to rush for 1,000 yards. It's, can you walk a mile? Like that's the basics now.
Yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is, as I mentioned, I think he's going to get enough play at the early point of the season. I think he's going to get a lot of play at the end of the season. I think he's going to be the more efficient of the two backs. We saw J.K. Dobbins rush for 4.6 yards per carry last year in this offense. I think Amarion Hampton can maybe do something similar. We know Najee Harris is going for 3.9 or 4 yards per carry. That is what that man does. He's not doing any more than that. But if Hampton brings that effect, and Hampton seems like his game is the type of game that's going to give us maybe 1 or 2 150, 175 yard games. So for plus money, again, tripling your money on 1,000 yards for a fresh leg rookie running back in a running offense, I don't hate the bet.
And plus, we're not 100% sure Najee can even see the holes cleared at this point after that fireworks.
There were some fireworks incidents that we did not even mention on the show. So.
When I lit my hand on fire, Josh had made a joke about Jason Pierre.
He's in his JPP era.
That was a controlled tested environment. I'm like, are you sure, Joel? Can I let my hand on fire? He's like, oh yeah, just shake it. Would you see it go on fire? I was like, okay, cool. It was sick, by the way. Mine again. I don't give you a specific one. I think Dayon Henley, if you watch the IDP show, I think Dayon Henley has a massive third year. So I would take the over on Dayon Henley's tackles. Also realizing they have the all retirement home team at right outside linebacker with Khalil Mack and Bud Dupree.
Yeah,
so get ready for some streamers right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Los Angeles Chargers. Next up, this team weirdly feels similar to this team, the Green Bay Packers. Just a lot of question marks. Really? Just talk about a training camp battle. Who's going to be the wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? There's your training camp battle.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least at this, there's, I guess the Green Bay wide receiver room comps to the Los Angeles running back room, where we just don't quite know who's going to be the lead.
You have no idea. You know who's going to be the running
back?
Well,
we like the quarterback.
He still gives me yeah.
Really?
He's good. It's just, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all she wrote. Myself, Josh, Ryan, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL, clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy football. We will see you on the